Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends podcast. The podcast designed to help you feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. Before I introduce my amazing guest, who is a legend, but not a podiatrist, so you just have to hang in there, I just want to remind everybody that I will be doing a 2-day workshop with Jonathan Small from the UK in Brisbane, Queensland on the 21st and 22nd of July. Go to my website, tysonfranklin.com. All the information is there. Just click on events, follow the links. And if you're sitting on the sideline and thinking, should I go to this event or not? Yes, you should. It is going to be a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot. It's the sort of stuff you'll be able to apply in your business straight away. Okay, so my guest today is Deb Johnstone. Now, Deb has been on the podcast. This is her third appearance. First time she was on, it was episode 89, and it was titled My Mindset Coach. The reason it was titled that is because Deb is my mindset coach. You may have heard me numerous times on this podcast mention that I talk to someone who keeps my craziness at a certain level, and Deb is the person. Then she came back for a repeat performance on episode 171, and it was showing up for yourself. Now, that particular episode has had almost 1,200 downloads, which is fantastic. And then Deb, the look on Deb's face at the moment, if you're watching the video, was surprised because I hadn't told her that. So, Deb, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks, Tyson. Wow, that is good. 1,200.
Yeah. And the other one, my mindset coach one, has done over 800 downloads.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the good part with what I love what you do, and the reason I wanted to get you back is, like I mentioned, you help keep my craziness in order. But it's one of those things, your business, Transformational Pathways Australia, and I will put links in the show notes so people can find you. You work with business people and entrepreneurs, and you just help work through things.
Yes, I do. Yes, I tend to work with business people, entrepreneurs, professionals who they just want to, take their business or their professional life to the next level. And a lot of times people come to me because their life lacks balance, or something's not working, or they just don't seem to be able to get ahead. And I also have people come to me that are starting a business as well. So and also, around career, it's not just business owners. I actually work with people around their career as well. So there's a few different ways, because whatever we're having a challenge with in our life, it always comes back to us. Always.
It does.
And so that's the way I help people. That's the way I support them.
And what I enjoy most, and this might sound funny to people, is like I'm very practical, science-based. I'm very just no woo-woo. I'm not into crystals, burning incense, sacrificing goats, or doing anything like that. But you are slightly spiritual and a little bit alternative. You're a yoga teacher as well.
I am.
And this is why I enjoy working with you, because we are completely different in so many different ways. Yet I love getting a different aspect. If I had to work with somebody who was purely just 100% business minded like I was, I would probably get bored really fast. But you tend to challenge me in a different way. And every now and then you'll throw out the odd woo-woo thing, and you can tell the look on my face, here we go.
I think I did that yesterday, didn't I?
You did. I was walking with my daughter and I said, do you realize here that Mars is ascending or something at the moment? And she said, what? I said, Mars is ascending, and therefore, and she's gone, you really believe that? I said, I don't know. I said, but you know what? I've heard the moon makes people do some crazy things as well. So that was our session yesterday. You mentioned something about, we were talking about overwhelm, where we all get overwhelmed.
So Mercury's in retrograde. That's what
retrograde. Is that what you said? There's people listening to this going, my God, I didn't realize Mars was in retrograde. I have to tell it here. It's not ascending, it's in retrograde. My. But what's funny is, because you know that is not my background. I'm extremely practical.
I know.
But it's great getting a different perspective on different things, which is why I wanted to get you back on here, because today's topic is the 4 types of clients, or 4 types of patients for us, which I think it's really important for people to understand that when someone's bum hits a seat in our consultation room, not everybody is the same.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Where do we start with all this?
Okay, so the important thing to realize here is that if we are not adapting the way we're treating people to suit their, I call them energy types. So if we're not adapting to suit their energy types, then they're not going to resonate with us. That might mean that they won't book in with us, or they might not be a return patient, or they might not recommend us. So, and, referrals is a big part of building any business.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we want people to recommend to their friends, to their family, that sort of thing. But if they're not being treated in the way that they like to be treated, and this goes beyond treating them with respect, having manners, being polite, it goes beyond that. If we're not treating them in the way that helps them really connect with us, then we're not going to get that happening. So we need to learn how to adjust our behavior to suit pretty much anyone that walks through the door. And one of the things I've noticed with a lot of podiatrists, I won't say all of podiatrists, a lot of podiatrists are very focused on their craft. So
Yeah.
very, very, I call them technicians. So they're very into the technicals of their work, making sure that they give great treatments, making sure that they get their patients' results, making sure that they give them the outcomes that they want. And they're very, very focused on what they're actually doing. And not everyone actually resonates with that kind of personality. So it's really important to understand these 4 different energy types that walk through the door of the clinic.
So is that why sometimes you can be with the patient and they can leave and you'll be going, they're not coming back. I can just tell they're not coming back. Something just didn't feel right.
Yes.
And I reckon this has happened to all of us. And you go, but I was so good in the room. I did this right. I checked everything. I answered the questions. I told some great jokes. They laughed. But I can just tell it's not right. Or sometimes it can be you're with the patient, it might be a younger child. You go, the parents don't like me. I just get this vibe that I haven't connected with the parents. Kid is understanding it. Or it could be the husband understands, but the wife, I can tell, doesn't feel right. So any of those, when that happens with any patient, then you've lost them.
Yes, that's absolutely it. Yeah. And that's why some people come in just once and you don't see them again. I wouldn't say that's always the reason why. They might move out of the area, but it can, the more we learn to adapt to other people's energy type, then, and you can call it behavior if you like, the more that we learn how to adapt to that.
Let's call it behavior.
I knew you'd prefer that.
I'm thinking, let's call it behavior, not energy type. Hang on, I've got incense burning in my room here while we're talking before we finish.
So the more we learn how to adapt, then the more people that we're gonna resonate with them, the more people are gonna get what we're talking about, the more people are gonna connect with us. And that's what we want them to do, because that's how they come back. That's how they refer to other people.
So what are the 4, let's stick with energy types. Let's keep it on, let's keep it on the edge. Let's educate the podiatry community with energy types. So what are the 4 energy types? Where do we start with it?
Okay, so there's 4 energy types. I'm going to go through them and some of the characteristics of them. So, okay, so the first 2 that I'm going to talk about, they're a masculine energy. So they're very left brain thinkers. They're more analytical. They're more into facts. They're more into data, that sort of thing. And they're more into outcomes. So the first one is the type that likes to move fast and likes to reach outcomes. So that type is going to be more focused on, and before I go any further, I just want to add that human behavior is very complex.
Yeah.
So there's going to be exceptions to this. And I'm talking generally here, and there's always going to be someone that's slightly different. So what we're talking about is based on probability. So
Yeah, yeah. Statistically, this is
that's right.
what
Yeah,
happens, but there's
yeah,
always going to be on the bell curve. You've got the things outside of the norm.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the first type is a masculine energy, and this type is the type that likes to move fast. They're then very much focused on the outcomes and the benefits. So this type is really interested in just what's in it for them. They're not interested in details, and quite often when we're coming from a technical viewpoint, we like to tell them all the details. We like to
yeah,
tell them how we're going to do it, and which parts of the body it's going to, they're going to be working with, and all the little tiny details. But this type is not interested in that, and it actually irritates them. So
yeah.
they find it really irritating. So and they don't want any of the fluff and bump either. They don't want any of the friendliness, the stories that
What did you was there a title for this type of person?
yeah, it's more of a dominant type.
Okay,
Yeah.
dominant.
Yeah. If we look at an archetype, we're thinking of a warrior.
Okay.
So someone that's really forward thinking. So they're really just interested in what's in it for them. And if you don't give them that information fast enough, or you don't answer their question completely based on what's in it for them, the outcome and the benefits, then you've lost them.
Okay. It'd be like people listening
Yeah.
to podcasts too sometimes, where I've had people say to me, "Oh yeah, I listened to that episode, but I only listened to the first 5 minutes because I didn't really enjoy it," and they left it. And I go, "Which parts didn't you enjoy?" And it's because whatever the topic was didn't come up really up front and just go bang. Gave them some answers really early, and
Yeah.
then they leave too soon.
Yeah, they're fast thinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to know exactly what's in it for them right at the beginning. Yeah.
I got a complaint on one of my videos on YouTube, and somebody sent me a message and said, "Oh, I wish you wouldn't waffle on so long before you got to the title of the video." And I went, "My God!" So I went and had a look. I was talking for 20 seconds. Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and thank you for watching this video. And 20 seconds before and they said I was waffling on before I got to it. So obviously that person wanted me to go,
Yeah.
"Hi, today I'm talking about this," and then got on with it.
That's right.
And they gave me a thumbs down. Mongrel.
You know who that was.
Anyway.
So they want, they do not want you to waffle. They want no waffle. They'll get irritated. They get irritated with details. So they want you to get right to the point as fast as possible, and they want to know what the benefits are for them. That's all they want to know.
Okay. So, and I have had patients like that.
Mm.
And would you say, I know we're going to talk about the other types, but you can be a slight combination of some of these as well. You get a little bit of the dominant at particular times, because I know myself, I've been places where I've walked in and just give me the treatment. Just give me the treatment. Don't talk to me. Just give me the treatment. Next thing they're waffling on about whatever it's doing and and I'm like, I'm really not interested. Just please shut up. Just do what you got to do. Don't talk to me.
That's right. And that's part of your type, because we've already done a profile for you a long time ago, haven't we?
Yeah. It's like when you get a massage. I'm like, the only question I want is, the pressure okay? Yes. I don't need a conversation. Don't talk to me.
Not with a massage. No way.
Christine organised a massage for me once, and the massage was great, but by the time I finished, my hearing was just damaged. She talked constantly. So I'd be a terrible masseuse because I would talk the whole time. So I hope I haven't taken you off track, but that makes total sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got someone that walks in and looks like they're in a hurry, or is presenting of someone on the phone that seems really impatient, that's what you got to give them.
Yeah.
It's they want the answer straight away. And if you don't answer that question adequately, they've gone.
Okay. So if someone was booked in for like a half-hour visit, sometimes these people, they don't want to be there for the half hour.
Mm.
So if you can, is there ways that we can identify these people? Are there certain ways that they dress or things that they say or their body language that tells us. They just want to get in and out. They don't need to spend 30 minutes with us to get the information.
Yep. If they're in a hurry, that's a dead giveaway. If they seem in a hurry, they're more upright. Their body language looks more certain. Yeah, and they'll just stride straight in. They won't hesitate. They won't.
Okay.
No.
When you say come down to the room, they're in the room. They're in the room way ahead of you.
And
They're
if
ready
they
to get
wait
started.
behind someone to be served, they get really impatient. So yeah, you'll be able to tell.
Oh, jeez. Oh, geez, that is me, isn't it? If there's one person in front of me, I don't like a long line. That's how I feel. It's even when I get off planes, Christine will say, are you going to get up or not? Are you going to get up or not? I say, what's the point? I'm not going to stand up on the airplane waiting for them to open up the doors. I said, I'm sitting here and the person at the window can wait until everybody is off the plane before I just want to get up and walk off, because by the time I get there, then my bag will be there. Because I think I may as well sit here and keep reading or watching a movie, and I'll get off the plane when I'm ready. And I have been tapped on the shoulder and said, sir, are you leaving the plane? I go, oh, sorry. I was on another world. And there's anything wrong with that person, that dominant personality type. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just understanding some people are that way. They don't like wasting time, I suppose, as well.
They don't like wasting time. And, you know, I mean, these are some great traits, because for someone that's quite dominant and driven like that, they achieve great things.
Yeah.
They achieve great things, as
So
you have. Yeah.
Well, what I've found when I've had that type of patient is not only do they want the information quick, they want the outcome as fast as possible as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So that type of patient, and I think this is a great point for everybody to understand. You have a patient that comes in, they need to get a pair of orthotics. You know they need them. They know they need them. They've agreed to them. Pay the extra money and get them to them fast.
Yeah.
Actually say to them, would you like me to get these made quicker? It might cost an extra $40. They will say yes. They don't want to wait 2 weeks to get a pair of orthotics. They want them there as fast as possible. Pay the extra money.
They do. And yeah, and quite often they don't mind paying extra to get things fast. And the thing is the more that you speed things up for them, the more likely they are to come back, because they know they're going to be dealt with efficiently and fast.
And referrals. They, at the same time, will be telling their friends, I went here, my God, the service was so good. They did this, this, and this, got my orthotics 24 hours, 48 hours, within 3 days.
That's right.
That is, okay. We're going to move on to the next one.
Next one I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about the masculine energies first. So the second one I'm going to talk about is a masculine energy as well. And this is the type that moves a bit slow, moves a fair bit slower actually. And they like to research things. They like to feel certain about things. They like to know that they're making the correct decision. So this type is all about correctness. They're all about compliance. So this is pretty much the opposite, still a masculine energy, but pretty much the opposite to the one we've just talked about. Is intensity of energy is much, much less. They move slower. And they like lots of details. They want to hear as many details as you've got. They like to know about ingredients in things. They like to know the details of exactly how you're going to do it, because that helps them feel certain. And they also like to hear probably examples or places that they can research that it's been done in the past, or how long that kind of treatment has been happening. They're very much about data. So it's all about data. Now, both of these types are interested in facts, but one is more interested in what's in it for them. This type is more interested in how it's actually going to happen, what the details are.
Okay.
And why it's important for them to do it. So they go right into it, and they can take a long, long time to think about something. So the more that, this is someone that you can take a lot more time with, and you can talk about all the different intricacies of how you're doing it as you're doing it, because they love all that.
Yeah, and I know a lot of patients like that. And when we've done the 12-week reboot, one of the things we talk about is the money's in the follow-up.
Mm.
So these type of patients are the ones where you've given them information and they're not going to necessarily make a decision straight away. You need to stay in touch and nurture them over a period of time. And some of them will take 6 months before they go, yeah, I think I will do something about it, because they've gathered all the information that you've provided them. Whereas if you just go, here's the information, call me when you're ready, they'll never be ready because they need more information.
More information. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a good episode. If we ended right now, I would be going, this has been a good episode, but we're not even halfway. You know, when I do certain episodes and there's certain times we're talking about things that I don't know, other people might be listening to this and go, Tyson, it's not that exciting, but I found this so far really, really exciting. So sorry, keep going.
So the next two types I'm going to talk about are both the feminine energy. So this is all right brain stuff. So right brain is all about people. It's all about relationships.
Oh, so to go back one step, so the first two were masculine energy, left side.
Left side.
And one was more dominant and one is more relaxed.
Yeah.
But they both want facts.
They both want facts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they want facts in different ways. So the second one I talked about wants lots of details, but the first one doesn't want any details at all. They just want to know what the balance is.
And we're not necessarily talking about men and women when you're talking about masculine and feminine. These are just a masculine energy and a feminine energy.
Exactly.
So you can have a female, you can have a person who's female, or you can have someone who's in between. They don't know which way they swing, but they can still have a masculine energy and a feminine energy. Okay.
Yes. And all of these energies can be spread evenly between men and women. So there's not a lot of times people assume that there's more women that are feminine and more men that are masculine in the masculine energy type. It's not true.
Yeah.
These four types are spread evenly between men and women. So don't get fooled into that. We all have a balance. Here goes the woo-woo bit. We all have a balance of masculine.
I knew it was coming.
We all have a balance of masculine and feminine energy. So we all have that balance within us. But the first two types I mentioned, they're more lead with the masculine energy. And the second two types I'm going to mention lead more with the feminine energy.
Yeah, and it's not gender based though. That's the main thing I would, because I know the first time, I've heard this multiple times from you, different times we've spoken.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard it, I kept thinking, oh, when you're talking masculine energy, oh, you're talking about men. When you're talking about feminine energy, you're talking about women. But that's not the case.
Not the case. No. I know a lot of women that are the first masculine type that I mentioned.
Yeah.
A lot of women. Yeah, I coach a lot of women who are that energy type.
Is that where women sometimes, they can be referred to, oh, geez, they're a ball buster?
It can be, yeah.
Because they come across that they're very confident in themselves.
Yeah, they're very confident. They're very sure of themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I've mentioned to you before when I've done coaching and things like that. I get on really well with strong women.
Yes. Yeah, you have said that.
And a lot of my closest friends are actually strong women, and I think it's because my mum was a really strong woman, and I found it good that my mum could stand there and have a conversation with a guy on an equal level and never back down under any circumstances, and not an aggressive way or anything like that, but just she felt very confident in herself. So a lot of my female friends, and even Chris, my wife, they've all got a certain strength about them.
Yeah.
Which is why you and I get on, Deb.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Except I don't have any of that first energy.
No, you don't.
I adapt. I just adapt when it's necessary. Yeah. But the thing is, a lot of that first energy type that I talked about and the second one actually come to me for coaching.
Yeah.
Because quite often they see the energy type that I have, and that's actually what they need. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
the energy type that they're missing, and they know that's what they need.
Oh, I said myself when I mentioned that my wife is quite strong, but she doesn't have that first type. She's not the
No, she
dominant.
doesn't. No,
Definitely not.
no, she's not. But she is a strong woman. Yeah.
Very. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to that was the third one. We've moved over to the right side of the brain.
We moved over to the right side of the brain. So that's a feminine energy. So the first type I want to talk about here is another fast-paced, and this type likes to have fun and likes to have lots of fun. So they're really interested in people, and they like to tell lots of stories. They like to hear stories. They they connect more with people who are friendly. They like it when someone asks after them, how are you? Makes all that nice conversation, asks about, their family. But they do move fast, but you'll engage them if you engage them in a story or talk about what they've been doing that week or what they've been doing that day. And they'll tell you. Yeah, they'll tell you. They've always got a story to tell. So for this type of person, if you give them heaps of details, they're going to get really annoyed with you as well. They don't really want to know that. They want to know, they're more interested in the fun of it. So if you're going to make it fun for them, they're going to keep coming back because they really connect with you. Friendly conversation, they're going to keep coming back. They're going to keep coming back when you talk about how different things have helped other people, the treatment that you'd like to give them actually, or you're advising them to have, has actually helped other people. So if it's all about it's actually helping this person have fun in the process, because it's all about how they feel, these people. And if they don't feel good around you, they won't come back.
That makes sense, because it wouldn't matter even if someone's coming in for an ingrown toenail, which is never going to be fun, but how they're greeted at the front reception, how you talk to them beforehand, after you've done the procedure, how you follow them up afterwards, and how you say goodbye when they come back for review visits. That whole process needs to be enjoyable, even though the experience or the treatment they're getting may not be fun.
Yeah.
So that's just what you got to do. But everything else surrounding it can be fun.
Yeah. So they want chatter. They want lots of chatter when you're doing your treatment. They would like lots of chatter with the receptionist. This type of person, probably not all this behavior type. Maybe they have a combination, but this type of person you'll normally find on reception because they like chatting a lot. Yeah. So if you have a receptionist, you probably find that your receptionist has some of this energy type. Obviously going to have a balance of another energy type, because this particular energy type isn't into details. And if you're on a podiatry reception, you need to have some of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally. And that's the difference too, when you can walk into a reception area of any business and you have someone who is really efficient but bubbly and friendly, and you just go, I just love coming here because I love talking to the reception and the staff are great. And then you walk into another one and it looks like the receptionist has been weaned on vinegar the whole life. She peers over her glasses and gives you that grumpy look, and you go, oh my God, I'm scared to ask a question. I feel like I'm about to get the cane if I say, and you'll crack a joke, which is of course funny, and they don't even flinch.
Yeah, that's right.
And you go, oh, this is a tough crowd. This is a tough crowd, this one.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. So the more fun you can make it for this person, the better. So, if they have that fun contact with the receptionist, but then they're led into the treatment room by a podiatrist that's really dry and just focused on the details, they're not going to get that connection there. So it needs to follow all the way through.
Yeah. Now I can see, even though we've talked about 3 personalities so far, I can see the importance of these 3 already, and how you could have a patient who's dominant, just wants the facts, and they could come across a podiatrist who's dominant and just loves giving the facts, and they are getting it on like a house on fire. But I could picture the dominant person coming in, and they come across a podiatrist that loves to have fun and all the details and happy and cracking jokes, and I can see how they clash, and vice versa, how the patient who's happy and cheery gets to the podiatrist who is like a stick in the mud, just wants to give the facts, and they leave going, well, that was a lot of fun.
Exactly.
And then they meet the weaned on vinegar receptionist, and they go, oh yeah, let me go and tell all my friends about this place.
And how not to go there.
Yeah, and they're thinking, yeah, obviously they don't leave the clinic, they just sleep in a coffin out the back
Yeah.
in that dark room. Yeah, so that makes sense. And I know, because I know we've discussed it before, I'm looking forward to the fourth one. People are not just usually one. They can be a combination of these things, which we will
Yeah.
get to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so the fourth type is
Yes.
the type that wants to be comfortable. And this type does like to know some of the details. But this type is a feminine energy again, so interested in people. And, you know, this type is probably going to like to be invited to talk about their family. They're very much into family. And
Okay.
if you can get this type of patient onto the subject of their family, they'll talk about their family for ages, and they might ask you about your family. And so their conversation is a lot about people, but the thing is they want to know that you care. So, you know, asking about a topic that they care about, because they tend to value family, asking about a topic that they care about leads them to see that you actually care about them. But they also want to know how you're going to do it as well. So there's a lot you can talk about with this type. They tend to be more on the quiet side. They're not as chatty as the type that I just talked about before, the type that likes to have fun. They're not as chatty as that. They tend to be more on the quiet side, but they will talk if you get them on the topic of people that they care about. They will
Okay,
talk.
makes sense.
Yeah. And so they, you know, they like, and they're going to feel comfortable when they know how you're doing it. So they want to know how they don't want the intricate details, but they want to know how you're doing it. And talking them through how you're doing it, going to do it, is going to help them feel comfortable. Also, talking about other people that have had the treatment in the past and how they've handled it as well and the results that they've got is also going to help them feel comfortable. So,
okay, are these patients probably more along the lines too of, if you were talking about a product and you said, oh, this particular product or how I get this made, and you're talking about how it could be good for the environment, or it's helping a village in Indonesia somewhere build an orphanage,
yeah,
telling them those type of stories, you're going to go, oh, that's great. Yeah, give me two.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know podiatrists like that too, who, one podiatrist in particular, when I first met him, he used to say when they had a family holiday, they didn't just take a holiday, they actually went and worked in a village overseas, and they used to take the kids, and this was the family holiday, was helping them build orphanages and churches. And I used to go, that is
Wow.
so cool. And I remember telling my wife that, and she went, that is so cool. I would never do it, but that is so cool.
Yeah.
It was, and you could just, and the person who did this, I just know they're this type of person. They are just a nice person.
Yeah. They just want to help, and they very much do want to help people. But yeah, because they care, they really care. But this type of patient would actually be really attracted to that practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. So if your practice is geared towards, hey, we do this for certain local charities or other organizations, they need to be aware that you're doing this, because I go, oh, that's really nice. I like these people because they give back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So are there certain things that, as a podiatrist, that you could do to try and identify these people faster? Like if you're not sure, is there a question that you can ask, or is there certain things that they look before they even sit down? I know when you said about the dominant one, the first one, the one who's into details, one's going to walk a little bit faster, then the other one will look, sort of take a little bit longer
Reserved.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same with these two types too. So these two types are, well, that they will lead the conversation. The first one I talked about that likes to have fun, that will actually lead the conversation. They're not backwards in coming forwards, and they talk a lot. So if you've got someone who jumps from one subject to the other,
I know someone like that.
You're generally looking at the type that likes to have fun. And the type that wants to be comfortable, they actually look comfortable. They're more reserved, but they've got a warmth about them. And they've got a kind of warmth about them. They're probably come across as a little bit shy, maybe, or a bit more reserved. But they generally talk about people. So, that might be a type that walks in and says, "Oh, my family told me to come here." That's a giveaway. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because even when you're looking at, we're always asking our patients, how'd you find out about us?
Yeah.
So you could probably find that some of the types of referrals that you'll get, or where they come from, is also going to fit into those 4 categories.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
But it's probably important for people to know too, you're not just, those 4 categories are quite blurry in between sometimes. You can have a little bit of everything. You might have a dominant one, you might have 2 dominant ones. Like, I would like to think, is this the DI?
It's the DISC, yeah.
The disc.
Yeah, it's disc. So, okay, so the way to completely identify the types and understand how they can communicate is to have a workshop with me. That's one of the things you can do.
And I have done that.
You have, yeah. And in a workshop, I go through each type in real detail and teach you how to identify them, and teach you how to behave with them, the do's and don'ts, all of that sort of thing.
So this is what you're talking about, is the DISC test, isn't it? DISC test.
It's actually extended DISC that I'm a consultant and trainer with. So
EDISC,
which is a bit deeper than DISC. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, like, I've done the DISC test a few times, like over the last 30 years or whatever. And some have been very vague, but then I do recall when I did we did a 1-day workshop together, I think it was.
You did, yeah. It was part of my Mindset for Business Success program that I did years ago, and I did eDisc over 2 sessions. So yeah, in effect, I did one for a group of directors a couple of weeks ago, and we did a whole day on extended DISC.
Yeah. I remember we did it because I know Christine was there, and she said, "Wow, this explains. I understand you a lot more." And that's what it was. It wasn't about any personality was right or wrong. It just helps you understand the people you work with, the patients that are coming through. It's not about, like I said, right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. This is the thing. It's no right or wrong, because each of these energy types have amazing characteristics that help them do different things. The thing is with extended DISC, it's not pigeonholing either. So, when you identify your own energy type, it's not about thinking, oh, well, I'm this type, so I can't do this or I can't do that. It's not about that. It's about understanding how you use your energy and how to use it more effectively to get the kind of results that you want. But by becoming more flexible and dynamic in your behavior, that's what it's about. So, but with identifying it in other people and learning how to communicate with the different types, of course, you need to mold your communication to suit that type, because they may have conscious awareness of how they need to adapt, but they might not. So it's about communicating with people in a way that they want, not in a way that you're most comfortable with. So,
can I ask a question?
Yes.
What do you do? So someone's got a podiatry business. They have a podiatrist employed with them who is very D and dominant. Just bang, they love to just give the facts to the patient. But that might only be a quarter of the patients that you see. So there's certain patients that bang, they just get on with really well. But you get someone who's a bit more touchy-feely and wants to talk about family. How do you train the person that's very dominant, who just loves to give facts? Can you train them to be a little bit softer and kinder and not so sharp?
If they're an employee of yours, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I do the workshops, team workshops, for exactly this reason, to help train people how to treat people differently. Or even for you to decide you might not want that type in your clinic. You know what I mean? It's
Because your clinic personality, like I used to find my clinic, the personality of my clinic matched my personality.
Yeah.
The way we treated patients, the way things were set up. And I remember the time you came in and did the session with my whole team. And I remember you asked everybody a question and they had to use a word to describe me. And I remember one of them wrote down intimidating. I went, what the hell? What do you mean intimidating? Because we're all in the room together. I said, but when we said, what do you mean by intimidating? I said, I don't do anything to try and intimidate. They went, well, and it wasn't the things that I said. It was they were intimidated by my expectations of looking after the patients. I had such high expectations that's what they found intimidating, living up to the standards that I kept right through my clinic. And they found that quite hard sometimes. Hearing that, it made me realize, okay, I need to chill a little bit more, not be so intimidating.
This is one of the benefits, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the benefits of doing the training, because, and I've seen this happen before. I've had conversations across tables between teams before, exactly like that as well. Exactly like the one you just mentioned.
And I think my word for them was boring. I said, you're boring. That was my word. Oh, what do you mean I'm boring? Exactly. But it was also good for them because it made them realize, oh, you know what? Maybe I am a little bit boring. I need to liven up a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. It really creates awareness amongst the team. But in that awareness amongst the team, it also helps the team see how they can adapt their behavior to suit the different types. Because that you're boring would have been maybe an I energy type speaking to a C energy type who's focused on all the details. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh no, I remember when we did it, and we all, in the end, everyone walked away going, that was fun. Like, no one got the shits with each other about what was said or what we shared. It was actually, we just got a better understanding of the team that I had, and we were able to adapt, and even how we spoke to them. We were able to talk to them a little bit, because I was slightly dominant, where I could just walk in and talk to the boring person, and I'd normally just go blah, 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 like pretty fast. I had to just slow down and just explain it in a little bit more detail, because they were more of that second one where they wanted the details, but they wanted it presented at a slower pace. Whereas other people wanted it a lot faster. Other people wanted it delivered in a fun way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And this is the important thing, is learning how to adapt your behavior and so that you reach different energy types, so that, you reach them and they actually connect with you, which is essentially, we want patients to come back, we want clients to come back. So I'm going to answer that question you asked me before. Here we go, rolling back.
Yeah.
Is okay, so only 1% of the Australian population is one energy type.
Okay.
So most people are a combination of two, and some are a combination of three. I'm actually a combination of three. So, but in that, there is normally one, what we call captain energy, that the person leads with. And that's the kind of behavior that you're going to see the most in them. So it's understanding that they are still going to show up in a certain way, and you're going to be able to recognize them in a certain way when you've got a lot more information. They are still going to lead with one energy type more than another, but they are actually a combination.
Yeah. Oh, well, I know mine.
Yeah.
So when you go through, when you mention the word disc, for example, D means dominant.
D is dominant, I is inspirational, S is stability or stabilizer, and C is compliant.
Okay, so so the D is the masculine for dominant. The I was inspirational, but that's the feminine one that wants to have fun.
Yep. The
And
S is feminine. Yeah.
yep,
And the C is masculine.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
just to confuse things.
Yeah. And the majority of podiatrists I've spoken to are normally SC. They're normally SC. But like I said, human behavior is very complex and there are always exceptions. So, I've come across, different industries that I've worked with delivering this training where I would imagine that the people in there would be really quite masculine energy. I expected them to be DCs.
Yeah.
But when we did their profiles, they had the SC component or the IS component, which really surprised me. And I've had the same, when I've facilitated to sales teams, and I'm expecting them all to be those DIs or ISs, but some of them came through as DCs. It just depends on the clients that they're working with,
Yeah.
the type of clients that they're working with. So it can be surprising sometimes that there are exceptions in different industries.
Yeah, a lot of the podiatrists I know, there's different types of businesses. So there's some podiatrists that I know who've got really fast growing businesses that have gone from point A to point B really quickly. And they tend to be DIs,
Yeah,
very dominant, but also a lot of fun at the same time. But some of the podiatry clinics I've seen that have been really successful, but they're just nice clinics.
yeah.
They're nice caring clinics, and they are more the SC. So it doesn't matter really personality type. I think if you build the clinic around your personality, then it's always going to be a successful clinic. It's when you try to be something you're not.
Yes.
So I could have a fun, outgoing clinic with a lot of fun, outgoing team members. And if somebody else saw that and that's not them and they try to copy that, it's going to be really difficult. It'll come across as fake.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really true. Is trying to be something you're not. That's really different to adapting your communication style.
Yeah.
That's very, very different because let me share this. So if we look at it from a statistical point of view, and the C's are going to love this. So if we look at it from a statistical point of view, so when we look at the feminine energy types, if we just look at those in a general way, the I and the S, they form about 70% of the population.
Okay.
And the DCs form around about 30% of the population. So together. So, but then again, you've got the combinations as well. So I think what I'm saying here is that it's important that if we have more of an introvert personality, if we're more reserved, if we're more quiet, or we're not people-oriented, we're more focused on the facts, it's important that we learn how to adapt our style to be more friendly with clients and patients that come in, because they form the greater part of the population.
Okay. Because I know learning this from you was really helpful, that it didn't matter who came into the room, I could very quickly adapt who I was to suit who they were.
Yeah.
So if they were a really caring, touchy-feely type person, I could slow my voice down. I could care a bit more. I could take my time. I could give them the details. I wouldn't stress about it. I may be thinking I'd rather be telling a funny joke right now in my head, but I could calm myself down. But it took a while. It took a while of actually understanding. And once you do it a few times and you realize, wow, that was actually a more fun consultation because I actually related to them.
Yes.
then you start doing it. It then just becomes more natural. You're not actually, and it's not being salesy or trying to con people. It's just improving your communication skills.
That's right. I mean, you know, we know, you know, if you go to Japan, right? You know that you wouldn't walk up to someone in maybe Japan or China, say, and immediately hug them, because you know they don't like that.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of it's about respect. You know, they wouldn't even consider doing that probably until they know someone really well. So, and it's the same with adapting your behavior to suit each of these energy types. It's like, well, you know, you're going to go up, maybe an S or C might like a little touch on the arm, but if you do this to a C energy type, they are not going to like it at all.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And that's why I think that's why I wanted to get you to come on here to talk about this, because communication in podiatry with our patients is the most important thing. And it's not just with the patients, it's with other team members, it's with referrers. That's why you might have a meeting with a GP, a physio, chiropractor, and the meeting will go really well and you will get a lot of referrals from that person because you were able to connect with them, and there was something about that connection that worked. You'll have other ones that you'll meet and you go, I said all the right stuff. I gave them all the right information, and they hate me. I can just tell they don't like me, and they don't refer anyone to you.
Yeah, that's right. And that's exactly what happens. And all it is, it's just a breakdown of communication because you haven't recognized what that person needs. That's it. That's all it is.
That makes perfect sense. So Deb, if people want to reach out to you and talk to you further about this, or maybe do some work with you, what is the best way of getting hold of you?
My website. So you could go to my website, Deb Johnstone, DebJohnstone.com.au. My email is success@debjohnston.com.au. And yeah, just reach out to me through there. And I could probably offer to your viewers, if they wanted to just dip their toes in with this. I normally charge $550 for a profile, which is a report and an unpack. But for your viewers, Tyson, I'll give them 10% off.
Okay, that's good. And it's only the price of one orthotic. So if you use the orthotic economy, it's one lousy orthotic to go and get this test done. And this is like an individual test for themselves, so they understand who they are. If somebody, do you do like group things like over Zoom? So if somebody had a team of 4, could they do a Zoom meeting with you as a team? So then you can negotiate a different price depending on how many people.
Yes, yep, we can do that too. So if you want to do teamwork, just contact me. I'll find out what your needs are, what outcome you want, what benefits you want for your team, for your business, for yourself, and I'll write up a proposal and a quote for you.
That's what I say. And if somebody has never read my book, the world's greatest podiatry book, which I like to hold up, it's no secret, there's money in podiatry, available on Amazon, or if you're in Australia, just go straight to my website. But in that book, I talk about the orthotic economy. And when you're looking at, should I spend the money on this or not? When you think what Deb charges to do this, do the eDisc test, it's one orthotic.
Yeah.
So investing the money from one orthotic could eventually give you 1,000 orthotics later. It is a fantastic investment. And like I said, I can endorse this 100% because I've worked with Deb for, I think it's like 9 years now, Deb.
Every time we chat, another year goes on.
I know.
Really?
I know.
You might be right though.
I'm pretty sure I'm right, because I sold my business 7 years ago. So, and we were working way before then. So it could almost be 10 years we've been working together. And some people must listen to me sometimes and go, what would he be like if he didn't work with you? So Deb, I want to thank you once again for coming back on the podcast and sharing your knowledge in this area. I want to remind people that in the show notes, I will have all the links there. So if you're driving your car and you weren't able to write it down, go to the new website that I have set up, podiatrylegends.com. It's a new website has been done purely just for the podcast. So if you want to know about what I'm doing, it's tysonfranklin.com. But anything to do about the podcast, some of the guests that have been on there, so there's even some online courses in different areas on there. Go to podiatrylegends.com, and with this also a sponsors section. So go and check that out, and all the courses and stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So Deb,
I've seen it. It's a fantastic.
You have seen it. I gave you a preview, didn't I?
Yeah.
So go and check it out, podiatrylegends.com. So Deb, thank you very much for coming on, and I look forward to talking again very soon.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.